Good evening. I'd like to call the Riviera Beach Community Redevelopment Agency regular board meeting of September 12th to order. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Davis.
Here.
Commissioner Botel.
Here.
Commissioner Miller Anderson. Vice Chair Hubbard.
Here.
Chair Davis.
Here.
Sorry, Chair Davis Johnson.
Here.
Also present is Scott Evans, Interim Executive Director, and Michael Haygood, General Counsel.
For the record, Commissioner Miller Anderson has indicated that she will be late to the meeting. We'll recognize her upon her arrival. I'd like to take a moment, stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Davis.
Shall we pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Executive Director, are there any additions, deletions, or substitutions?
No, Madam Chair.
Any disclosures by the Commission? Motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Davis.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Botel.
Yes.
Vice Chair Hubbard.
Yes.
Chair Davis Johnson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All matters listed under this item are considered to be routine and action will be taken by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council person so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Are there any items to be pulled from the agenda at this time? Entertain a motion to adopt
So
the
moved.
consent agenda.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment cards?
We do. We have one public comment card. Bonnie Larson.
We are at the consent agenda. Do you wish to make a comment, Ms. Larson? Yes.
Two comments on the vendors this month. Florida Fishing Academy, we normally only get the front page, which has their bill. We normally don't get the backup, which tells how many kids were taking advantage of the program. But I just noticed tonight it has the backup. But the backup says we had 199 private sessions for people who live outside Riviera Beach. That's all the activity we had this month, and we paid $2,500 plus a free boat slip, plus. Are we getting our bang for the buck? I don't think so. We're not having enough Riviera Beach. There's no Riviera Beach people using the services this month. Then I didn't understand this. There was a bill from Mr. McCrae, $5,500, and it said something about the Cash America building painting, but he wasn't the one painting over there. There were two guys who were there for like 3 weeks painting, and there's still a lot of things they haven't completed over there. I talked to you a little bit about that, and you said, doesn't it look better? No, I'm not. There's a school which says something is better than nothing. I went to the school which said, do it right the first time, finish it, and then you don't have to do it over again, because there's still things over there that they didn't finish. So I don't know what his involvement is with that painting, but it said $5,500, because those guys said they were with a company called, what did he, I think he just made up something. But anyway, what is his involvement with that $5,500 for that building? I don't know. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it, Madam Chair.
That concludes it.
Yes.
Madam Clerk.
We need a motion.
We had a motion and a second, didn't we?
Yep.
We did.
We did?
We did, I believe.
I second.
Botel made the motion, Davis second.
That was on the adoption of the agenda.
But there has since been a second motion. For the record, can you restate your motion in second, please? Make the motion on the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Are you the second, Mr. Davis? Or,
Yes.
okay, so it's been motioned and properly second.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Commissioner Botel.
Yes.
Vice Chair Hubbard.
Yes.
Chair Miller Anderson.
She's not recognized as being here yet.
Chair Davis Johnson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Let the record reflect that Commissioner Miller Anderson is now on the dais. We are now on to regular business. Item number 6.
A resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Riviera Beach Community Redevelopment Agency approving the annual budget for the agency for fiscal year 2018-19, attached hereto and incorporated as Exhibit A, authorizing its transmittal to the City of Riviera Beach for certification in accordance with the law, providing an effective date and other purposes.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second. Mr. Evans?
Good evening, Board. This is the first budget hearing, or rather the one we've planned for September 12th. Sorry. We began the review schedule with 3 workshops, which were held on May 23rd, August 13th, and August 22nd. So we have the final proposed budget before you this evening. We'll provide you a brief overview and a summary, including Anita Jenkins, our housing director, who will go over our planned housing projects for this year. Our revenue for this year is $8.53 million. The CRA's revenue is made up from 2 areas. It's the amount that the property taxes went up from the day of the original creation of the redevelopment agency. So we collect dollars from Palm Beach County and then also a portion from the City of Riviera Beach. The administration budget for this year has remained relatively the same as last year. Our total operations and administration was $1.28 million in the previous fiscal year, and that remains that amount for this year going forward. Our staff salaries are about 6% of our operating costs. Our 2 largest areas of expenditures proposed for this year are our debt service and our housing and neighborhood stabilization, both of which are approximately 25%. Our work plan, in accordance with board direction, we've increased the visibility and operations of our Clean and Safe Ambassador program for the coming year by adding 3 new positions in the proposed budget for that. And additional 1 new position to help the agency update our CRA plan and assist the city to adopt new land use zoning in accordance with board vision in the coming year to help promote redevelopment of the Broadway corridor and the Marina Village. This is a summary of our debt service for the coming year. The Wachovia note is a debt that we owed to the City of Riviera Beach, so we have that annual payment. We also have a debt for the Ocean Mall property, the improvements that were made to the park. That is aligned with the Wachovia note. So once the Wachovia note is completed payments in 2023, then we will begin payments on the Ocean Mall debt. Additionally, we have our BB&T loan funds payment, which comes to a complete total of $3.2 million. And we are proposing to incur new debt this year, which I will reference later. Some of our new initiatives. This budget includes a new signage-focused target facade program. We've assigned $220,000 for this project. This would have to be created into an administrative implementation program, so this will come back before you before the project begins. However, we see this as trying to get a lot of the various signage and related facade painting in the area of Broadway corridor, specifically our Blue Heron corridor, both on the north and south side east of Broadway. And then on the Singer Island portion, there's a lot of signage that's very mixed-matched. It doesn't have a unified theme. So this program would look to partner with those businesses. Our dollars would not be a pure grant. They would be looking for the businesses to invest in their improvements. But it's to try and create a more coordinated theme for our commercial corridors. Continuing projects, we've retained the dollars to complete the beautification and improvements on the corner of Broadway and Blue Heron. This includes the northwest corner, which I'm very excited to say the mural that's shown above on the screen is currently under, I guess it's in progress. And it's starting to look really good. So we're excited about that. And the next steps for that would be to complete our Welcome to City of Riviera Beach sign, which would be a very attractive fountain. And then on the other side would be a separate project, which would be improving the parking lot adjacent to the Cash America building and putting out an RFP to find a small business owner to rehabilitate the Dairy Bell property. One of the major initiatives that we're looking at this year is to get a new board vision for Broadway. And that would result in new land use and zoning and potentially accelerated project timelines to try and create a very pro-business and attractive environment for development in our major corridors. Also included in our proposed work plan would be a new tax benefit-based infrastructure grant, but that would be following once the board had adopted a new vision. Then we would then develop that program and bring that back to you. And the target for that grant program is spring of 2019. This year we also need to update our CRA plan, which will also inform the City of Riviera Beach's task, which is to update their comprehensive plan. And the CRA will take the lead on developing new zoning regulations along the Broadway corridor to try and create and enhance development opportunities, both at the marina and at the north end of the city, adjacent to Lake Park, who have adopted similar increased density. We also will be proceeding with selection of master developer for our Phase 2 marina project this year. And that project, as I previously mentioned, will also need new zoning, plat updates, and right-of-way changes as we prepare for our next phases of development. We are proposing to issue new CRA debt. This would be for property acquisition and redevelopment along the Broadway corridor. We would also like to develop Avenue E construction project as a joint city, CRA, and utility district project, and we've initiated those discussions. And so this would provide some dollars now for this. This is an unfunded project on the city side, and that's ideal because the CRA can put our money in first, which then the city could add to that budget in order to build a complete project. We also propose to borrow additional dollars for our Phase 2 Marina Village, and these dollars would be reserved for the public development components that we integrate into the plan. And those, of course, would be for your approval once the development agreement has been developed. And the final amount would be for to increase our dollars for our Renaissance Affordable Housing Project, which would add another $1 million to the existing, which already has about $1.5 million. So that would allow us to build a number of houses, which Anita Jenkins will present on shortly. And of course, this is a rendering of our concept to modernize an existing building at 2601 Broadway. We are currently in the due diligence process on this project. We're also developing some exciting options for the board to consider towards a new look for the building, but also as a small business incubator to try and grow and link that to some of our educational facilities and educators. Both some of our local high schools and universities are interested in participating. So we're working on bringing some exciting options back to the board that we would like to integrate into our new building once we close. I would like to introduce Anita Jenkins. She combined with Rod McLeod may present our Clean and Safe and our neighborhood services overview.
Good evening, Commissioners and Chair. Anita Jenkins, Director of Neighborhood Services. As Mr. Evans said, over the last few budget workshops, we presented detail about our various components of neighborhood services. We have built our program for this coming fiscal year, and we hope that you'll be pleased, taking into account your comments and feedback from the community on how we might enhance and expand our participation in the neighborhoods. The first portion of this presentation will be on clean and safe, and I'll ask Mr. Rod McLeod to present that.
Good evening, Madam Commissioner and Board. Rod McLeod, Facility Manager for the Marina and Public Safety Officer. Key changes that we're proposing for the Clean and Safe, we're going to be moving into our 5th year of operations of our award-winning program. It has been well received by businesses and residents throughout the whole city. And to assist us in delivering a better customer service and create a more impactful presence, we are expanding our neighborhood-based services. We will now deploy a neighborhood service team, a Broadway Blue Heron team, a Singer Island team, to do landscaping, litter pickup, sidewalk sweeping, pressure washing, neighborhood and community outreach services. The landscaping, the Clean Team ambassadors will also be responsible for keeping the grass and hedges cut and trimmed on all CRA properties within Riviera Beach. Okay. We are proposing to hire new staff resources to provide wider coverage. We will then have discrete services at the Marina Village with an event operations team, a day porter team, and a Marina Village team to assist with porter services, setup, breakdowns at the event center, and customer service activities. We will use additional overnight porter cleaning service to provide support for the Marina Village teams. This will enable us to first thing in the morning be able to start taking events into the program. Our clean and safe operation will be divided into neighborhood operations portfolio and a Marina Village operations portfolio. The budgetary impact is not expected to exceed $100,000 for this next fiscal year. Our budget summary is a clean and safe initiative for the Marina. Operational expenses is $22,260. The neighborhood operation expenses is $183,097. Salaries and benefits is $579,571 for a total of $784,928. And I'll give it back to Ms. Jenkins.
Before you give it back to Ms. Jenkins, you mentioned the creation of a Singer Island group. You talked about Broadway and Blue Heron, and then you talked about Singer Island. But there was no inclusion of the Riviera Beach Heights and Inlet City areas, which are well within the CRA area. Why is that?
Riviera Beach Heights is one of the key areas where we'll have people. Our intent is to have some equipment stationed there and also a person that's working out of that area.
So you're going to cover both the areas of Riviera Beach Heights and Inlet City?
Yes,
Inlet City is where the community garden sits?
Yeah.
And will these be universal services provided to all of those areas?
Yes. All of our services, sidewalk cleaning, pressure washing, outreach, all of that will be included.
Thank you.
And Commissioner Chair, we think by having equipment and people staged in those 3 areas, we'll be able to be more impactful, saving time, trying to transport the sidewalk sweeper over to Riviera Beach Heights, Inlet City, et cetera. So we think we'll be more effective. So we're pretty confident that you're gonna like the new portfolio approach that we're taking with Clean and Safe.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Davis, you recognize?
Ms. Jenkins, as we improve all of the neighborhoods with this program expansion, will we be coordinating with the Public Works on the city side when they're doing a lot of the street sweeping and cleaning in the neighborhoods?
We always do. We stay in close contact with Public Works, with our Parks and Rec team, and try to coordinate when they bring equipment out and when we bring equipment out. And there are some things that Public Works does in terms of maintenance in the neighborhood, and we're trying to piggyback on that, most definitely. On the neighborhood services side, our strategies will be to continue focus on Riviera Beach Heights, Inlet City, and major portions of Park Manor. These are our priority focus areas where we're bringing our plethora of programs to bear. Last time I mentioned to you all about how we're tracking the Opportunity Zone program. We're working very closely with Palm Beach County on their various programs through Department of Housing and Economic Sustainability, and we'll continue to do that so that we could leverage our dollars, our resources, our staff. We want to avoid any further decline in our neighborhoods, and we know that we have to halt the disinvestment on vacant lots and derelict properties. So to that end, we have begun some pilot conversations with our code enforcement department where we try to coordinate in providing assistance to residents who have code challenged properties, most notably with painting and landscape services. And a lot of our resources that are outlined will be focused on rehabilitating these properties in our various housing programs. And we think that this will improve the stability of the neighborhood and help to foster revitalization in our corridors and in our main commercial areas. You see our neighborhood services and how we deploy them. On the graphic, we have our community garden program, which is just on fire in terms of expanding it to various neighborhoods. Our house-by-house program, which is our main vehicle for beautification. We're bringing new elements to our smart home program. We're going to be doing a pilot, if you approve this, with the ring services in some of our targeted areas. And our housing initiatives that I'll talk a little bit more about in a minute, our nonprofit support, and our parks, trails, and signs. Our budget is suggested in this manner. $100,000 for the community garden, and that includes support for the Singer Island, the satellite gardens that we currently have, and our existing garden on 10th Street. Our house-by-house program, $50,000. As I've mentioned in past meetings, we have such a demand for assistance for our residents for landscaping, for painting, and we really need more resources. And hence, the CDC has made a request on the city side, and I know that the city manager is trying to craft some response to that for residents outside of the CRA. Our smart home program, we've slightly increased that to $25,000 because we've just had tremendous success with our smart water program, and we want to continue to get that out to additional residences. This year we started in Park Manor. We want to continue those and go back and pick up any homes that we may have missed. And for our housing initiatives, the bulk of the budget, $2.4 million, is allocated for our various workforce housing programs, our Renaissance program, our infill housing, and our rehab program. Our nonprofit assistance between the line item allocated for healthy food and the CDC support is $370,000, and our parks, trails, and signs, $103,000. We've also added, as Mr. Evans mentioned a little earlier when he talked about the additional dollars that the CRA is asking for support to procure, where we would have an additional $100,000 for property acquisition that would be available for infill services. So our total proposed budget for your consideration is $3.198 million. I'll stop there and see if there are any questions.
Are there any questions from the commission? None at this time? Okay. I'm sorry.
I have one.
Vice Chair Hubbard, recognized.
Ms. Jenkins, in the if you would turn back to the page, the last page with the $3 million. I know we discussed this earlier, but I wanted you to tell me about where in there the line item that spoke to the $670,000 in debt. Can you show me that area, that breakout, please?
Mr. Evans, help me, but I think the 670,000 is the debt service on the proposed new loan that the CRA would incur.
Okay.
That's not included in this budget.
And this would be a total of $670,000 for the year for the monies that you're proposing to buy to acquire the old bank building?
Yes, that's the estimated amount that we think it will be, until we develop the agenda item, which will have the terms of the agreement back to the board, but that's what we're looking at. That's our estimate.
Okay, so if after the due diligence and that's not purchased, how do we wash, or would we have to amend the total budget over?
No, if you approve the financing at the same time, that will amend the budget. So if you don't, the board is not required to borrow the money. If you decide elect not to do that, it won't affect the budget.
Okay. Not so much that if we decide not to do it, I know you mentioned we were doing our due diligence and it might not come to pass. That is something that even the CRA wants to do. So I was just asking if once that is done and the due diligence is completed, at what point would we have to go back and amend the budget? And I'm understanding you to say that wouldn't be necessary because amending the budget would take place when we agree or disagree on.
So at the last board meeting, we passed a resolution that said any of the costs that we inquire now in trying to develop this loan would be incorporated into that. So if you approve the new loan, that would also fund any of our expenses for the year. So it would also amend the budget. So the resolution approving the loan will also amend the CRA
When you say
budget.
fund your expensive, you're just talking about the debt service. You're not talking about the monies that you had to pay to do your due diligence.
If you elect, that's correct. So we have the dollars in the existing budget now to do the due diligence, but we will be able to recover those if you approve the loan.
I see. Thank you. Under Marina Village Phase 2,
Get me back to the PowerPoint.
I'll wait till they get back.
Sure.
I'll go to the economic development. Right. Come on down. Okay. Let me see here. Okay, right there. The last segment for neighborhood services is the economic development program. And we're proposing to continue to hone in on entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and technology in an effort to support our small business development, our proposed incubators, et cetera, and attracting new small businesses and emerging businesses within the CRA.
I'm sorry, Ms. Jenkins, the request was for the Phase 2 development of the marina, and that may have come under, was that under your presentation?
Yes, that was a
Mr.
slide in
Evans?
my
It was.
presentation.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Oh,
It was a line
it's in
item
another.
in the table that they show.
In the table, go back
In
to
the
the
table
table
that
with
you
the
showed.
final figures.
Okay.
I can tell you where it is in mine.
It-
Just a couple pages back, and it was at the point where you were closing, and the total was $3 million.
The slide with the $3 million total.
Okay.
Yeah,
Going back for that. For
I
the
might be
housing.
able to find it quicker.
Go back.
You're looking in the wrong presentation.
Right here. Go back.
Okay. It's in the other. Okay.
The question is going to be, Mrs. Evans, about it says Marina Village Phase 2, and I just wanted to have you expound on that as to what about Marina Village Phase 2?
So, as a part of Phase 2, we will be reviewing and choosing a new master developer. And we anticipate negotiating both community benefits agreement and some public elements of that project that will make it a really great waterfront destination for both our residents and visitors. So we're just reserving dollars, future dollars, to allow us to implement some public components of the project that would make Phase 2 as good as possible.
Okay. When you say public components, can you tell me what, give me just one example of it, just please?
It could be an expansion to the event center. It could be improved park facilities. It could be public parking.
Okay. What I want to see us invest in is, I guess, more public, more local participation, but from a standpoint of using these dollars to create opportunities for wealth building and businesses that would be developed. One could say that would come under the economic development piece, but here in this particular pocket of money, I would like to see us, before we start to put all this money on the street, put a procurement policy in place that speaks to the community. We've spent millions and hundreds of millions of dollars for redevelopment, and still that we haven't created wealth in this community. We haven't, made any new business people wealthy or created any new businesses from the standpoint that, I'd like to see it. So what I'm saying to you, if we're taking that money, it should be something in that pocket of money that would allow us to have a procurement policy that would allow us to bring in new businesses, not so much run so fast to build brand new buildings, but to, for example, we have opportunities for sheltered market based on our policies in procurement that's already there now. I'm only mentioning stuff that we can do outside of a disparity study. That's what I'm talking about now. So for us to, I think that's a stipulation that we need to put in if we are truly interested in redevelopment that's going to bring economic development. Redevelopment brings buildings, pretty buildings, if it's not, coupled with economic development. So that's what I mean. That's what I think this need to be amended to say. We need to have this in writing as not just as a passing thought, but as a directive, as something that we'd like to see.
Okay.
So, Madam Chair, Mr. Executive Director, how can we implement this now if we're, going to be voting on a budget like this tonight? I wanted to.
This is a component that's unfunded in this budget. So it's listed as a capital project that the CRA would like to pursue. And if the board elects to borrow the dollars in October to fund these projects, then at that time we could include in the resolution a listing of the possible things that we would use those dollars for. And in that listing, you could then include the various items that you want to spend the dollars on.
Madam Chair.
Vice Chair, did you have anything further?
If we do, since it's unfunded, and truly, if you bring back that item for us to talk about borrowing money. I don't think that we should burden the community with borrowing money if they're not gonna benefit from it. So I surely think at that time, that would be a great time to add in how they're going to benefit from it and different programs, you know, things we're gonna put in place so we can assure that.
And it is my intent to include some of those dollars in the community benefits agreement. The RFP that we put out said that we would develop a community benefits agreement that's a partnership between the CRA, the city, and the developer. So we would need to automatically bring some dollars, I think, to achieve some of the things that we're looking for. So I will make sure that that's in a part of your future agenda item.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Davis, you're recognized.
That's okay. I can wait.
Shall I see if I can figure this out? Just the last item is on economic development, and we're focusing on entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and technology, supporting our small business environment. And the dollars we're proposing in this budget for those programs are continuing our Comerica Small Business Resource Center at $21,000 and our J.A. Spark program with our young people at $15,000 for total uses of $36,000. And that concludes my neighborhood services presentation. If there are any further questions.
Any questions from commissioners? Bless you.
God bless you.
No
Thank-
questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Evans.
That completes our overview of the budget. Thank you.
We have one public comment card, Chair. Bonnie Larson.
Bonnie Larson, I missed the first two budget meetings for the CRA, but I was here for the third. But the third really was just an update, like, by the different departments, what they're gonna do, what they're planning for this year. But one thing I heard was the request to hire another planner. And I'd like to suggest that, you know, some departments, they have too many chiefs and not enough Indians. I think in the CRA, it seems like we have not enough chiefs and too many Indians. If we're gonna hire, Mr. Evans is a planner, and he's been doing a marvelous job. He had to step in. He's been there for a couple of years now doing it. But for him to hire another planner, of course, is gonna be someone that knows less than he does. So is that really what we need? Do we need another underling, or do we need someone with more experience and more expertise in CRA development? Because to get just another planner, I can't see that that's gonna really help us. It's real unusual to have a planner running an entire CRA, and I'm not saying you're doing a bad job. I'm just saying it's very unusual, and that's, well, tell me another city that does that.
Continue.
Okay, I'll wait. I'd like to hear another city that does that, several other cities that do that. But the thing is, we need someone with a lot of experience and expertise, and I just don't know that another planner is gonna do it. We have a lot of Indians over there in the CRA these days. Thank you.
Do you want to respond to that?
Okay.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Botel.
Yes.
Commissioner Miller Anderson.
Yes.
Vice Chair Hubbard.
Yes.
Chair Davis Johnson.
Yes.
Motion carries. The resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Riviera Beach Community Redevelopment Agency approving a lease agreement between the agency and MTN Investment, Inc. for the development of a community garden park on Singer Island in Riviera Beach, directing and authorizing the chairman and executive director to execute the lease agreement and to take such actions as shall be necessary and consistent to carry out the intent and desire of the agency, providing an effective date.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Second. Been moved and properly seconded. Mr. Evans.
We're excited to be moving forward on this. The landowner has agreed to lease the property for $1 a year so that we might pursue a future community garden. This community garden will be implemented in a temporary manner. So the idea is to both enhance the Blue Heron Boulevard, clean up the property a little bit, and then bring in some community garden elements. And they would be designed so that if the garden is moved at a future time, that they could be just picked up and moved. So this is not, does not have a lot of infrastructure related. It would be a garden that we could put there. It would be fenced off, and it would be add both beauty to the roadway and provide gardening opportunity. So the property owners agreed to lease it for $1 a year, and then it would continue month to month following that. And we hope that the board will support this effort as we expand our community gardens around the city.
Who will be master gardener there? Who will be responsible for? I'm looking for it. Have we determined that yet?
We have not put in place that person yet, but one of our Clean and Safe ambassadors has recently become a master gardener. So he's starting to do some work in our existing garden, and we would be looking to have him also do some additional work in this garden. But we haven't made a determination of a master gardener yet.
And are these raised boxes so that we can move them? Is that the idea?
Yes, the idea would be raised boxes. But it would be a combination, too, of some plants that would be just planted in the ground.
Were there any public comment cards?
No, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Davis, you recognize?
Mr. Evans, which property exactly off Blue Heron is located?
This is on the corner, this is the southeast corner of Lake Drive and Blue Heron Boulevard. So it's right across the street from where they tore down the old brown condo building.
It's a good spot.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Botel?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller Anderson?
Yes.
Vice Chair Hubbard?
Yes.
Chair Davis Johnson?
Yes.
Motion carries. A resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Riviera Beach Community Redevelopment Agency authorizing the execution of a 2-year contract for professional architectural services with Harvard Jolly Architectural, Inc. to provide architectural and construction development services in the amount not to exceed $97,290 plus a 9% contingency for a total of $106,046.10, directing and authorizing the chairman and executive director to take such actions as shall be necessary and consistent to carry out the intent of the agency, providing an effective date.
Is there a motion?
Moved.
Is there a
Second.
Been moved and properly second. Mr. Evans?
Our project manager, Andre Lewis, has a presentation for the board.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
So we're going to talk a little bit about the Blue Heron Broadway beautification project. The purpose is for the agency to seek approval to enter into a contract with Harvard Jolly Architecture to provide architectural and construction development services to complete the additions for the purposes of site enhancement and beautification. So a little bit of background, back in December of 2016 and March of 2017, the agency provided several improvement options to the board and solicited feedback. Back in November of 2017, the agency secured approval to move forward with the preferred options for the parking lot, water feature, signage, landscaping, and lighting. So, moving to Harvard Jolly Services, they will be providing construction document services to complete the construction plans, engineering, specifications, and drawings. Also, the permitting process, permit preparation, submissions, and revisions, and construction administration, project development services, along with architectural and inspection services during the construction phase of the project, which will have a contract amount of $106,046.10, and this is with a 9% contingency. So the first improvement would be the parking lot. We're building the concrete sidewalks along Broadway and facing Broadway, cutting off the what's existing exit area. About 2,300 square feet of paving that would go around the Echo Garden. Landscaping and irrigation, we'll be adding several large palms as well as small palms, small trees, about 3,000 square foot of shrubs and ground cover, 4,500 square foot of proposed additions of sod, irrigation system that will cover about 6,000 square feet, and again, the Echo Art and Butterfly Garden installation. Signage package and the fencing, so we propose a new pawn shop sign, removing the existing, and we also propose to add a monument sign with the lettering that can be seen from Broadway. 6-foot aluminum fence to the back portion of the property. The garden, the small garden fencing around the Eco Art Garden, and interpretive signs that will kind of tell you what you're looking at as you approach the garden. Also, we're going to propose additions for decorative site lighting. 14 uplighting for the palm trees, about 6 lights for the mural. We propose uplighting for those, 2 moth theater lighting, 4 parking area lighting that currently is proposed to be mounted to the building itself.
Okay.
And the piece de resistance is the water feature, which will have bronze aluminum raised lettering, a waterfall over the wall, bubble jets, and the large fountain basin. And that's it. Any questions?
Are there any questions? Any public comment cards?
We do. We have one public comment card, Bonnie Larson.
Of course, I'm only one of 3 residents here tonight. You're going to hear from me a lot. But anyway, I don't quite understand the relationship between these people and Gentile Holloway, because at some point, these people want $106,000.10, yeah, but $46.10. Okay, but then in one of the letters, these Harvard Jolly people, they refer to Gentile Holloway, and they said it'd be less expensive to have them do it. So I don't quite understand why we have 2 different companies doing the same thing. In fact, this property, we've spent a lot of money doing architectural drawings and stuff on this. There was, remember that company, Scott, you'll remember the name of it, CN2 or something like that. It had letters and numbers. We paid them a lot of money for something. Now we're paying Gentile Holloway. Now we got Harvard Jolly. What are all these people doing? They mentioned trees and stuff in there, but they're not going to be supplying the trees. That'll all be extra. So my question here is, I would like to see a detailed list of all the costs broken down. Like, remember at the marina we said how much would it cost to tear down the wall? Well, we don't know because it was all in one pack. No, we need to know point by point so that if there's something on there that we don't want, maybe we can't afford it. I'd like to know, point by point before we sign up with these people so we know what we can afford and what we can't afford. There's just no detail in here. And I'd like to know also how much it costs to put in the existing green space over there. We spent a lot of money on that, and now it sounds like everything's going to be ripped out over there. So, we keep doing and redoing, and I hate to see things done so many times over, and that was your predecessor like to do that. He'd do it, then he'd say, oh, no. Even that fence, they put up the fence, and the idea of the solid fence was so you wouldn't have to see the cars in the parking lot behind it. Now, your idea is to put up a railing. So he wanted flat. He wanted it so you couldn't see through it. You want it so you can see through it. I mean, do we really need to do it again? Is that an expense we really need to do again? I kind of like it with the solid, because then you don't see a lot of junky cars parking in there. You don't really want to see that from Blue Heron. And also, if we put too many things on that green space, you're not going to be able to see the beautiful mural. That lady's there working in 99-degree weather. She's up there on scaffolding. She's working hard. Anyway, This was also something that Mr. Brown wanted to do. Excuse my drawing. Good architects aren't here to see this. Okay. So here's my pen exploded. Okay. So here's cash and here's the dumpster. Excuse me.
Stay by the mic, Bonnie.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's all right. Oh, I'm just handiwork here then. Okay. So I figured out the number of parking spots that are there now. So I think you said there'd be 15 or 17 parking spots with a new revision. I don't see how that's possible because I counted them and counted them. Here's the Dairy Bell. You got 4 possible places people park there. This is Cash America. There are 6 that's all you can get there is 6 parking spots. This is the dumpster, air conditioner loading zone back here. Along here, this is the west end. You can only get 7 maximum parking spots. Okay, here's the ingress and egress. So the suggestion is we close off that egress over here. I can't tell you how many people use that egress, and I know at one point you said it's a dangerous parking lot. I look at the thing every day. It's not a dangerous parking lot, in my opinion, and people use that a lot. So imagine if you got a car here, okay, and you're going to try and get out of here. Okay, so now you got to like back up. You got to somehow get turned around to get out here. Whereas normally, and these people too, what they normally do, they back up and out they go. So if you do away with that opening over there, everybody has to use this. That's going to cause parking problems. That's going to cause accidents in that parking area for sure. So let's try and make it better rather than taking away the parking. Like I said, imagine being parked here and then you got to back up, you got to jockey around to somehow get all the way over here, and you got these people parking here. That's going to be a nightmare to close off that. So I think we really need to think about some of these things.
Thank you, Ms. Larson.
And let's improve it rather than make a problem where one doesn't exist right now. Thank you.
Any questions? Madam Chair. Commissioner Miller Anderson.
Just to, if he could just respond to her concerns about the parking.
Sure. The proposed changes, we studied the existing parking arrangements and including a public safety security expert who looked at the plan. So the new plans would increase the amount of parking that's available on the site. And if we're going to be opening up a new small business in that location, which means a lot more pedestrian traffic. So it's very important that we don't have pedestrian traffic mixing with cars going in and out at multiple ingress and egress points. So we feel that the new plan is significantly safer and it provides more parking spaces. As related to her previous comment, this contract is to develop the construction plans that we could then put out for bid in several packages. And then we would have the actual costs from the market. And we have estimates, but these plans would be what we use to bid the project and then hopefully construct it.
Thank you.
Vice Chair Hubbard, you recognize?
Which is totally different from what Gentile did. They did renderings, if you will. Help me out. Is that what happened?
Yeah, Gentile held several board workshops in which we walked through a variety of concepts, narrowed down some of the ideas, and worked out which concept the board preferred for the various elements, from the fountain to the sidewalks to the garden to rehabilitating the building to enhancing the parking lot. And the other comment I will add is we have some very expensive Great Royal Palms out there right now, and they would of course be retained in the new project.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions from the commission? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Botel?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller Anderson?
Yes.
Vice Chair Hubbard?
Yes.
Chair Davis Johnson?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Receipt of public comments. Non-agenda item speakers. Public comments should be restricted to issues, matters, or topics pertinent to the Riviera Beach Community Redevelopment Agency. Please be reminded that the CRA Board of Commissioners has adopted rules of decorum governing public conduct during official meetings, which has been posted at the entrance of the council chambers. In an event to preserve order, if any of the rules are not adhered to, the commission chair may have any disruptive speaker or attendee removed from the podium, from the meeting, and or the building if necessary. Please govern yourselves according Do we have any public comment?
We do. Bonnie Larson.
What a surprise.
Audience of one tonight. Yeah, damn, more people got to come to this. And, you know, we're all trying to give good ideas and tell you what we know and what I see every day. There's going to be accidents over there. Okay. I went down to the marina. I was really disappointed. There's no time up there. Let's put the time so I know what I'm doing here. Okay, I went down to the marina this week. I was really disappointed. And then I drove by the, it was dirty and it was like not nice and there were a lot of weeds and spots, and where they have the water jets bubbling up, there's a drain there. It was just water all over standing on the ground. I took a picture. It was just water standing there. Kids could slip and fall. I was so disappointed. And I sat down on those benches, and I'm tall. I could not see the water. I was looking at the wall. We also have benches looking into the parking lot. You know, it's like thought didn't go into it. Enough thought did not go into that. Also, at the Spanish Courts, can we please get rid of that big metal shed? Whatever that, it says Marina Store on it, nice sign says Marina Store on it. The thing needs to go in a recycle box. That thing is horrible, horrible. BB&T inspections, they only gave us 30 days, so I'm wondering, like, what inspections have we done so far, since it's been 2 weeks already. They only gave you 30 days to do it. Cost to rehabilitate, the Dairy Bell, you did a study one time, so we've already paid somebody to do a study, what it would cost to rehabilitate that. So I don't know if the council has it. If not, they need that. Marina, the policy and procedures, has that been redone? It would be nice to have that online. It was voted on, but then there were changes to be made, and I don't know that it ever came back, the policies and procedures. So what we have online is just the draft one. So we need to see that one. The fuel station at the marina, that's not finished. It's just sitting there. There's kind of a fence around it. It says, you know, stay out, whatever. You can walk right in there, but what's the status of that? It's just sitting there under construction. Also, have we finished the floor on the event center on that room that overlooks the water? Have we finished that floor? Don't know. Oh, here's an idea. 2601 Broadway, that's the old BB&T building. Boy, you're lucky I have to do only about a third of these. I only have time here. Okay, instead of bringing other people in, let's think about ourselves first. Instead of renting out the other spaces in the BB&T building, if we buy it, let's move our other employees over there. Let's quit paying rent at the Port Center. Let's get all of our people over there. That's a great location, if we buy it, instead of, you know, moving out those offices up there. Let's get our people in there and let's save rent on all the other places that we're giving out rent to. Clean and Save, I just haven't seen them in a long time. We have mushrooms growing on the green space there. Their branches fall down. They just sit there. This is the third time reminder. Signs on the telephone pole by Silver Beach and Broadway. They're still hanging there. Those old signs are tacked up there. They're falling. It's the third time I'm reminding everybody here. Avenue F and Blue Heron, that vegetation is still sitting there. That's a CRA property. And the Cash America dumpster, that's still missing the lids. I mean, these are things that we can do. You know, easy, easy. I hate to remind 3 times, but it is a third reminder for that. But let's think about that, moving our people out so we save money at other locations instead of, you know, doing that. Thank you.
Do you have any responses to any of the questions that Ms. Larson posed?
Yes, we will update our policies and procedures, the few changes that were made at the previous board meeting, and then also we're working on the list of items that the boards wanted us to bring back some options for future consideration. So that's a November agenda item.
And I do recall when you talked about this purchase of this building at 2601 that there would be an opportunity to bring additional agencies in should they desire to move over. That was a part of the discussion with the purchase. So that is an affirmative. That is the plan, to seek to bring in and reduce the rents that the CRA and city are paying out to outside agencies. Yes. Okay. Report of the executive director.
I have nothing further for the board.
Report of general counsel.
I have nothing.
Discussion of the commissioners, starting with Commissioner Davis.
No, I would just like to say I can really appreciate the way this budget has been presented. This is one of the first budgets. Not all the budgets have been well over the last decade I've seen in the CRA, but the focus of the neighborhood has really been very impressive with myself to see how the CRAs across the state of Florida has been under attack up in Tallahassee about doing what they're really designed to do, which is improve neighborhoods and quality of life. And it's great to see that staff has taken that focus, that direction. So I just want to say to all the staff that worked so hard on this budget, thank you for your efforts in improving our CRA.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Botel.
Thank you. I also applaud staff for presenting such a wonderful budget and thank the fellow board members for approving the garden on Singer Island. We look forward to growing many wonderful things there. Thank you.
Commissioner Miller-Anderson.
I ditto what the other two commissioners just stated regarding the budget. I did have a question. I had recently heard about an initiative, Purpose-Built Communities, where Rybovich is participating in this, mainly with the area immediately around their property in West Palm, and they're basically trying to work with the community and heavily involved with two schools, Northmore and Northborough Elementary School, and some of the business organizations. And so I guess I'm looking a little more into the initiative, but I was just curious if they ever approached the CRA, being that they do have some property up here, to see if that was something that they may have approached the city of Riviera Beach regarding. I do understand majority of the properties down there, but you know, this initiative is a huge initiative where it could change the entire community. And so I was just curious if anyone had ever been approached by that or heard of that.
The CRA has not been approached, but I will contact Rybovich tomorrow and start a dialogue to see.
Purpose-built communities.
Okay.
Well,
Thank
I can
you.
say that I was approached by outside industry with regards to purpose-built coming here to the city of Riviera Beach. I have not had a conversation with Rybovich or any of the partners, but that information was brought to me just last week, oddly enough.
Yeah, I heard about it a lot today, but I've heard about it a month ago, but today I got a lot of information on it. So I was just curious if we had ever had that dialogue in Riviera Beach.
No, it's swirling around, but it's not it has not made its way to this board.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's it.
Vice Chair Hubbard.
Thank you to the staff for a lot of hard work on the budget.
I echo the sentiments of my colleagues. I would like to make an announcement that the Riviera Beach Heights cleanup that was scheduled for this Saturday has been canceled and will be rescheduled. We'll provide information on an upcoming date for that. And please be reminded that of the Monroe Heights cleanup, which is being co-hosted by Vice Chair Hubbard and Commissioner Davis. And that is Saturday from 8 until noon. Provided that the weather does hold up. And community service hours will be given to those students that volunteer. Lunch will be provided, T-shirts will be provided, and you will meet where?
Monroe Heights Park.
Monroe Heights Park. Mr. Davis, I heard you. Did you have anything?
Yes, so just one other initiative. The Sickle Cell Walk is this Saturday, starting at 8 o'clock at the Ocean Mall. So warm-up starts at 8, I believe, for 30 minutes of stretching. No, 7:30. 30 minutes of stretching as a group stretch activity, and they will be walking on the sidewalk heading west over the bridge to the bottom and back over as in one big large group. So for those that can make it, they can get up early in the morning and enjoy the nice day. Hopefully it's a beautiful day. Please come out and support the Sickle Cell Foundation and Riviera Beach right at the new Ocean Walk. And also in the near future, Ocean Walk is the gentleman from the Ocean Mall, the new managers, are talking about creating an event for a relaunch of the Ocean Walk and that area. So in the near future, we probably be getting something sent to the CRA and the city to talk about that event, because they want to talk about rebranding certain areas of the city and getting cooperative with the CRA and the city and the local business partners.
Good. Well, and finally, for me, I want to thank the CRA and its staff for its support and partnership of the coding camp that happened this summer. We will provide just a really brief presentation for you on the city side. It's about 2 minutes on the children's perspective of the coding camp. So thank you very much for your support and partnership with the coding camp. That was truly a benefit to our children. And with that being said, there being no further business, we stand adjourned.